Bukedi, like any other regions, have certain factors which affect them. And those factors are multiple. The factors that caused this persistent, what is now seen and perceived as the current situation, they are complex. I'll try to divide these reasons because I have studied them extensively. They are the primary causes or root causes. They are secondary causes or the stem of the tree. And then there are those which are the fruits, which eventually give the impact which we see. So I'll try to respond in terms of those levels. What are the root causes? What matures those causes? And then what are the fruits that we see? The other issue about the leaders, us as leaders, and I want to emphasize, we really need to start respecting each other. When you go to the community and speak evil about your fellow leader, it doesn't only work against the other person. I'm talking about leaders in this sense, not only in terms of political leaders, but anybody who qualifies to be a leader, anybody who has a vision. Musenero doesn't qualify because she's better than everybody. No, we each have a different aspect. We need to respect each other. We need not to speak evil. It is in Bukedi where when you compete politically, you become permanent enemies. I tried to do an experiment. I stood in a by-election, primary elections for NRM. I was under no illusion that I will lose because people would not buy my kind of message. It is a tough message of development, and I don't know how to tell a different message. But I wanted to understand how politics works. So I joined the primary elections. They were cheap. They were NRM organizes the things, and I'll be in the inside, and I will understand. So of course, I didn't win. Then I joined the campaign of the flag bearer, and I became very committed to that flag bearer. And every celebration I've had since, he's always there. That is Honorable Mutono. But for us, we carry the hatred, we carry it across the election. The fact that you stood, the fact that you were number 2, the fact that you were number 3, you had a lot of people vote for you. Why don't we use that time to come together and lead and provide leadership for our people? And the final one is being an example. We need to be an example to the people. If we do not focus on being examples, and this is something that I'm trying to emphasize, if we are pushing the strategic plan and we want to provide leadership, I really ask both of us, political and non-political leaders, let's give the example. Let us put up those, at least 1 acre of coffee. Let's be an example for people to follow. But sometimes, as I told you, because we fear to frequent the village, also sometimes when we invest in the village, you're not going there very much. Whatever you're doing doesn't work. But a leader must be an example. When people look at you, they should be able to aspire to become like you. And many of us are like what people would want us to be when we are in Kampala, when we are outside, but not at the community level. It is not just putting up a good home, but what you are telling them to do you have it? Have you put it up? Can they come and learn from you? That is a leadership question. Can they follow you in this enterprise? This is in response to Mr. Kintu. I think I've partly addressed your question of how leaders can stop polarizing, and it seems like you are an aspiring member of parliament. I think the mantra is being a political opponent is not enmity. I think first we need to look at politics in its right lenses. Many people have turned politics and being elected as being the highest profession, basically because we are looking at it as an income generation. We are not looking at what we want to serve. And many of our leaders, you can pretend, but most people are looking for that high-paying job. That's why people invest all their savings, looking at it as an investment to earn money. And so it is the pain of the losses that you incurred during the election and you failed, you turn that into enmity. There was an old saying that ensonyo zifude busungu. You know, being a political opponent does not mean that you are enemies forever. And working together does not mean that you don't have differing views on politics. So it is what makes political enmity. One, people make being a politician a career. And so failure becomes so devastating. It becomes your career. Two, you are hoping to serve after being elected. You were not serving. You were somewhere doing whatever you were doing in your place for your own self. And now you bring that money and you invest it in a campaign and you are hoping you will serve people after you are elected. So if you are not elected, you have no experience in serving people. You really have nothing to do except to justify why you lost. Even if you were cheated, why don't we get into the habit of congratulating the winner? Why don't we get into that and then coming together as a leadership team and serve the people? Because if you came to serve, the people are still there. You can still serve them. As leaders, including myself, we need to spend more time gathering together, even without the people, and discussing the matters of Bukedi, discussing the matters of Bugweri. But sometimes we don't. Why? Because we get embroiled in very small conflicts. You'll find an MP from another district beefing an MP from another district. And you wonder, they are not even competing, but we are unable to sit down and work together. That collective voice of leadership for us to learn together. The reason we have succeeded so far, and this time the president was so proud of us. He was so proud of us that we had that collective voice. So I am glad that our MPs have now realized this, and we are going to sit more and discuss together, because if you do not have a forum and a platform to sit and learn from each other and agree on things, it becomes very difficult that we cannot provide a sense of direction, because each of us has something we know. Each of us has an idea, but it is when we crossbreed these ideas, that is when we come up with a very highly productive one. Just an additional comment on the question that has been asked above there about the polarization. I really want to appeal to all of us, those especially now that everybody is positioning and appealing, trying to make themselves stand. You are trying to stand as a councillor, as a chairman, LC5. You are trying to stand as a member of parliament at whatever level and many positions. Let's examine, what is your manifesto? I think it's only in the Bukedi that people don't come with a manifesto. People just pick anything and say, I will make those roads, I will build schools, I will do this. Those are things you do. You have no ability to deliver. And because you don't have ability to deliver, where are you going to get the money to deliver them? Government has already set its priorities. You may only lobby and negotiate. So the manifesto that we could write at this point is, how are you going to provide leadership for economic development in the area? Because that one, we are going to succeed. How are you going to make sure that this strategic plan gets implemented with the people whom you are going to be leading? Because this is now our road, it is now our highway, and we are going to be bringing in a lot of ideas. How are you? Do you have a unique way of supporting people? Do you have a unique way of reaching out to people? Instead of promising things which you will not deliver, and then after elections you hide from the village because you will not be able to deliver that road. The manifesto roads will be made long before you are elected. The plan for those manifesto roads, the roads in the manifesto, they have already been written. And so by the time you win, you are saying, I will make this road. And if you are an MP, it may not be possible because you will try to lobby from the minister and it won't come. So you could say that and they elect you, but please let the strategic plan, think through how to get the strategic plan implemented so that it becomes a manifesto issue. It becomes your manifesto. But we are looking for factors which give Bukedi, have given Bukedi relative disadvantage. The dismantling of those administrative structures is nationwide. It did not just happen in Bukedi. So if they have an effect, then that effect attenuates development across the country. And I already commented about the role of the cooperatives, because the cooperatives, especially the two for Bukedi, which were so powerful, they provided social leadership. Development has to be socialized. If it's not socialized and is only forced, it's a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. It can be enforced to a certain point, but it reaches a time when it has to be socialized. So the cooperatives, that's a point that I already mentioned. The collapse of the cotton cooperatives was a big blow to Bukedi. And since we did not have alternative structures to keep people engaged in the economy, because those cooperatives provided the economic leadership, they really, it's a big blow and it's a gap which yet has to be enforced. Unfortunately, when something has been and then it goes down and you live in nostalgia of what it used to be, its return may not give the same level or what you expected, because expectations are high, times have changed, context has changed. The efforts to revive these cooperatives as they were have been futile. I personally think that we need to form something very different, because if you form on those very ones and go on the relishes, the kind of leadership they have, unless they are completely willing to have reform and change leadership and what then. But if they are operating the same way, I tried to engage with North Bukedi Cooperative Union, and I did not find it in the modern times a viable entity that could take us forward. But maybe if they are reformed. In my introduction, in answering the first question posed to me, saying that I have position and authority, it is true for now I have that. However, that is not the reason why I provide leadership. That is a platform, a new platform which has been given to my leadership. I'm very committed, whether in my personal capacity, whether in any position that I have. If there is no position given to me, I create one such that I can be able to serve our people. And I want to invite you, all of you, to come for the breakfast, to ignite this collective working together and getting to understand things together so that we can move together. Together we can do a lot. Together we can lead. And I also want to appeal to those of you whose focus is to stand for political office. Once you introduce yourself to the community as a leader through campaigns, please remain a leader. A leader is not just by appearance, by honor, you appear, they give you a seat of privilege. That is not leadership. Leadership is envisioning things for the people and taking steps to go there ahead of them, however inconvenient, and convincing them to follow you and making certain that when they follow us, we are going to get to a right path. So once you introduce yourself, don't create these divisions, camps, whatever. Introduce yourself. Let your value come to the community. They have seen you. You have something to say. Continue saying it whether you will ever be elected politically or not. Dividing ourselves such that we cannot discuss anything else because of politics is a big danger. Fazali Kabwaka, yes, I appointed that group. The group did not work. They did not deliver, and their work has been overtaken by events, by the strategic plan. So I suggest that we join the strategic plan because at that point we needed the results, we needed data, we needed to know whether this is, we were researching a sense of direction. That now we have researched and we have crossed that bridge. So I request that that team now joins the strategic plan, and you are invited for the breakfast to come and we discuss more about the strategic plan. I have to continue that message here. Even on our platforms, like these ones, Bagwere, we have development forums for district, we have Bagwere Development Forum. People will not discuss development issues without bringing in political insinuations. All the time, we cannot sit as a people and care about development. Food does not care whether you are NOP, whether you are FDC, whether you are an RM. Food is food. The road does not care whether it is which party. We should know where to leave parties. We should have a circle where parties don't matter, where we are Bagwere, where we are people of Bukedi. Because when there is a challenge in Bukedi, it will affect you, I'm telling you. When there is no good hospital and you go home and you fall sick, it won't matter which party you belong to. So we needed to differentiate politics from development. Yes, politics is a key factor in development, but there is development outside politics. This business of making politics the entirety of life is a big disadvantage to us. It's a terrible disadvantage to us. I know it's futile for me to say this now, but if we could decommercialize campaigns, we would be able to get better leadership. Even the people we elect will be able to provide their leadership better. But I know that maybe this is not something that anybody is willing to listen to now. But hopefully, if we have our strategic plan implemented, by 2031 elections, the people will be looking at something different. And so we will be able now to sit down and engage. Because the strategic plan we have now is for the primary level. This is just the beginning. We have a long journey of development to hand on to the next generation. We must be able to sit and discuss those things and not allow just political perceptions to ruin every discussion. I find these development platforms, WhatsApp, actually I left some of them, like a Bugwere Development Forum. I left it because you can't talk anything. Everything is politicized. And I find that so flippant, so superficial, that people are not willing to engage on the real issues that affect people's lives. My leadership is generally by mentorship. When we were doing this strategic plan, I was personally not there many times, but it was being done by people. It was being led and guided by people that I have mentored. I have wanted to mentor leaders in Bukedi, but it has been difficult to find the people who are willing to be mentored. But this is part of this plan, the strategic plan. When you read the plan, you'll see a comment about human capital development. We cannot develop people without mentoring leaders for the next generation. So there is going to be a deliberate effort to mentor leaders, to have a patriotic spirit, to have visionary thoughts, and to plan, to mentor them in skills. Because if we do not develop the people, if we do not develop the children and the younger generation to take over leadership, then they are the majority. And even in the implementation of the plan, they are the majority. And so we must plan for them. So mentoring leaders is going to be one of the strategic actions that, one, I personally take, but two, cascade that mentorship so that there are many more mentors to carry out the work. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ikote, and the leadership of Ogwere at large for having me. I'm very passionate about leadership. I conduct a lot of leadership training. Sometimes I invite people for short-term leadership scaling, and I avail myself to small mentorship groups. When I had time, I used to do that. Since I became a minister, I have full-time mentorship of this team at Science, Technology, and Innovation. But I'm very, very passionate about leadership. Leadership should not be conditional. You should not put conditions. People must love you. People must do this. No. Once you've made up your mind to provide leadership, leadership is about love, loving the people unconditionally. It's about sacrifice. It's about seeking to know, and it's about seeking how to break the barriers between you and them. And I'm very privileged that you've given me this opportunity to share here, and we shall continue. If there are questions asked later, I will take time and answer them in the week. They can feel free to post them, and I'll be able to answer them. Thank you very much. Please remember to come for the breakfast on the 21st of December so that we can kickstart working together. I believe it is going to be worthwhile. It's really going to be worthwhile. Please make sure you are there in person. Thank you, and God bless you. Bukedi, united and prosperous. We are striving to make Bukedi shine again, make it great again. Thank you. So, if you're going to stand up and rebuke youth and tell them to go and work and insist that they put in a lot of hours of work, the one thing they are going to tell you is, Waira not Raja. When they come when they see any political leader, people want money. And so these elected leaders, they are caught in a cycle. You have to spend while electing, when during the campaigns, and then when you come to parliament or become a chairman or whatever, which every appearance must have money. Now, for me, because I am not standing for elective office, I put a rule. In my community, they know. Musenero tagave sente. I never even tell people mbumbule sente. No. Tingabe sente. Why? So that ibanko ba ogabaniki ngaba magezi. So because of I have that window, I can force people to go in a direction which can bring development. Otherwise, you always be caught to tell people what they want to hear, which has no evidence that will ever bring them to development. Even when it comes to investing in the community, People will go to women groups and give them circles money, knowing very well those women groups are not going to invest that money. Because if you don't have rules, strict rules, then you cannot develop society. So how do we deal with this? We have young people who despise leaders. There are some groups where the moment they know Musenero is here, they will start abusing me. So how can they ever respect anything I say? Leadership, or a leader, is a person who by imagination envisions what should be and what something should be and how you can do to get there. And then focus and commit to persuade the others to follow that vision, such that we are able to go there together. There are those who will quickly see it and come with you. Then there are those who may not quickly see it and come with you. And Bukedi has gone through a series of leadership. You know that leadership here has been structured mostly the eyes turned to the political, especially after the introduction of multipartyism. Before, when the NRM government had come in power, people were on individual merit, there was excitement, but not as much as it is now. But now, how do we make the leadership work for society? And the situation of leadership in Bukedi is actually not the cause of a single factor or a single issue, but the combination of factors which have come together to make the people not look for leaders or not expect or not accept what would be leadership, and instead demand something else, and then put leaders in a position where they either give what the people want or they are not elected. But in the process, the quality of leadership or that function which would transform society is sacrificed. The other issue also comes from us leaders. Let me finish that point. So because of that demand of commercialization of politics and leadership, you have to balance. I remember sometime earlier this year, I'll not mention the name, but we were sent to the community and we were given some money. So I budgeted, I've got so many sub-counties, invite these leaders from the local area and talk to them. And we had some little money for their transport. But because I was going in this place, I thought, let me invite the area MP to come. So the poor man came. I had invited very specific people. The moment they knew their MP was there, we had more than 5 times the number of people that we had invited. Anybody who was at a garden just dropped the hoe and ran. And we had given these people the money that you will distribute, you will pay people some small allowance. He ended up going to his account to withdraw money to give these people, because if he doesn't give them, they are going to hold him at ransom. Now, what do you expect from such a leader? Will he commonly be coming to the community to provide leadership? Will he be coming to train people? Because when you go to train, nobody will listen to you. They're just waiting. When are you telling them what you're going to give them? Now, for me, they will come to my car window, I will drive away. For them, they cannot. And so the people we elect are not able to perform their duties because of that pressure of money from the community. They are not able to provide. And I want to tell you, we will say so and so has failed, so and so is the one who will succeed. But until we change as a community, we are not going to benefit much from our elected leaders, because nobody has unlimited amounts of money. And so they are unable to perform their leadership functions, and instead try to do quick appearances, very strategic appearances, because they fear to be impoverished, which many are, by the way. Many of our members of parliament are so milked dry, they're so milked dry that they don't know whether they keep saying, should I stand again? If I stand again, maybe then I might benefit something. So we put them